Hey everyone, Katana here. Welcome back to another video. So today, guys, we're gonna be talking about RAM. Why do you need RAM? Who needs it for what? So, example, if you're gaming, if you're a content creator, if you're editing, you never know. So, why do you need RAM? What speed do you need it at? How much do you need? Will all be answered in this video. So, let's go with step number one. Why do we need RAM in a computer? Why? The reason that a computer needs RAM is so that it can cache any data in or out of the CPU. So anything that is going to go through to the CPU to be processed needs to go through the RAM. And if there's no RAM, well, it won't reach the CPU, which kind of sucks, right? So the system won't turn on at all. The CPU won't get the power button signal. Well, I mean, the power button's on the motherboard. The motherboard will turn on, but second thing, if you had no RAM, well, nothing could happen at all. Now, how much RAM do you need? For Windows 10, you need at least 2 gigs of RAM, nothing less. One gigabyte of RAM, and it won't open for you. The reason being that Windows uses more than 70% of your RAM at that point, and it just crashes. So, at least 2 gigs of RAM. But what do you need 2 gigs of RAM for? Is it going to be useful? What's it going to do? Well, first of all, it's not going to be useful. It's not going to do much either. If you're trying to play something like Roblox, very, very simple game, it'll be stuttery, very stuttery. Even if you have the best hardware and only 2 gigs of RAM, it'll be very stuttery at low settings. Now, if on the other hand you had lots of RAM, like too much RAM, like a terabyte of RAM, what will that do? Well, that'll just increase the performance of your computer. I couldn't find the word, sorry guys. Anyways, now who needs 1 terabyte of RAM? Not many people. But if you are someone who makes 3D models or does something like movie making, that is a very important part. You need lots of RAM. So let's begin with gaming, which everyone has tried once. Come on. So nowadays, recommended RAM for gaming is 16 gigabytes. Why? Well, because most games now use from 10 to 15 gigabytes of RAM. Not 15 all the time, but like if it's a really intense game, I'm saying. Like Tomb Raider, like the newest Tomb Raider. It's a really intense game and uses a lot of RAM. Now, that's for actually not high-end gaming. If you had 16 gigs in a high-end rig, nah man, no. Now, nowadays, 32 gigs is recommended for mid-range gaming, which means an RTX 2070 and the Ryzen 7 2700. That is considered mid-range gaming, and it's considered really good gaming. So you can actually run 4K, Tomb Raider max settings, and it can use up to 20 gigabytes of RAM. So that's one of the main reasons you need a good amount of RAM, okay, if you're a gamer. But, if you're a light gamer and you're playing CSGO, you have 1050 Ti and Ryzen 3, 8 gigs of RAM is enough, not 4. Don't go for 4 if you're a gamer. Go for 4 if you're using an office PC. Maybe even 8 if you're using an office PC. Don't really go for 4, it's slow. Now, RAM speed, does that matter? Well, yes and no. For Ryzen, it does. For Intel, it does not. The reason being, well, that's another topic for another video. I'll talk to you guys about that in another video. Now, we were saying before we went on to the RAM speed, how much RAM do you need? Well, here's a comparison of 16 gigabytes of RAM, 32 gigs of RAM, and 8 gigs of RAM. Okay, so you've seen the massive difference. Okay, absolutely massive difference. So I'm telling you, RAM is important for gaming, but what else is it important for? Well, if you're editing, you're gonna need lots of RAM, because the CPU is gonna cache a lot of those frames that your graphics card is rendering. See, because if you're rendering a frame at 8K, you're gonna need to cache a lot of it, and you're gonna need a good GPU. And if you have a good GPU that's able to render it really quickly, you're gonna need lots of RAM, and you're gonna need good RAM, like with a heatsink, because it might get hot. Now, why is RAM such an important thing, even though it's just for caching? Why don't we just add that to the motherboard? Well, the reason being, if you do add it to the motherboard, it's gonna cost way more. The motherboard is gonna cost way more, and it's not gonna be worth buying a motherboard, and it's not gonna have enough RAM, and it might overheat. There's many other problems. So that's another problem solved for you guys. Now, if you're a movie creator, like someone who animates movies, what type of computer do you need? Well, right now, the best type of computer for that would be Ryzen Threadripper. Yes, Threadripper 3990X. That thing shreds any other CPU ever. Like, it is right now the the strongest CPU on the market that you can get. Yeah, and if you're gonna be connecting a few graphics cards to that, I mean, hell yeah. Because Quadros are made for rendering and such, and then the Ryzen Threadripper is also made for that. So you're getting a good mashup, and the CPU wants to cache some of its things, and the GPU wants to cache in some as well. And if there's more than one GPU, there's going to be more caching. And as that works, you're going to need more RAM. And if you're doing a high quality movie like Avengers Endgame or something like that, that one's a really good movie. I liked it. You're going to need lots of RAM. I think in their systems they had about 2 terabytes of RAM per system. I'm not sure though. I'm gonna go check that out. But pretty sure they had about 2 terabytes of RAM, and they had an AMD EPYC CPU or an Intel W CPU. So both of those were back then the strongest CPUs they had. But now there's like consumer CPUs and all. So I hope you get what RAM is and why you need it now. Okay? Thanks for watching. I love you guys so much. See you guys next time. Bye-bye.